probably going to get a little arched.
Should it be visible? No.
If it's visible, I think that's okay too. It's,
Need a beer break anywhere in there?
it's what you do for
Your
your
team is behind you.
Is there a sign? Is it this? Okay.
Go ahead and say something. Or something.
Hey Glenn, how are you? It's Chuck here. Chuck, Rustic Road, check.
All right. So you already gave consent. Do you give consent for the producers of the upcoming 2020 documentary to use portions of this interview as well as any photos or video you may provide to them in their upcoming film?
Yes.
You gotta do this, Tim. Oh, can you spell your name? Sorry.
Full name is Charles, Charles Nelson, Nelson.
And what is the name of your business or organization that you're associated with in Kenosha?
Rustic Road Brewing Company.
And then again, can you just say, my name is Chuck Nelson, I'm the owner of Rustic Road Brewing in Kenosha.
My name is Chuck Nelson. I'm the owner of Rustic Road Brewing Company in Kenosha.
How are you associated with this business?
I'm the owner, or one of the partners.
How long have you worked or owned the business?
Since St. Patty's Day, March of 2018.
Can you briefly describe, you briefly describe your life, personal and business before 2020? Just kind of like how normal life was for you.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, by trade, I'm a truck driver and contract truckman for Household Good Moving Company. We live in Kenosha with my wife Michelle of 25 years, and my daughter Nikki, and our granddaughter of 2 years old at this time.
On March 17th, 2020, so 2 years after you, the city of Kenosha basically shut down. How did this affect you and or your business?
Well, that was actually St. Patty's Day of 2020 when that happened, and gearing up for the busiest day in bar business of the year, we had an abrupt end to that day, obviously. We were kind of miffed on how to proceed forward. The initial shift was they had closed everybody down, so the ordinance was to go items only. Nobody could be in the bar, so we adjusted very quick to go food, and we also are able to can our beer to go right from the tap. So we ordered, instantly I called our canning supply company because they were also getting shut down in Michigan, and ordered a huge batch of our crawlers, our 32-ounce cans. That seemed to help us initially and for the long period during the first couple months of shutdown.
The next question was, as far as how did the business adapt? That was pretty much covered.
Yeah, I mean, we had to. It was a ever-changing, sequence of events because we weren't sure what the rules were going to be before us. A small business and what we could open, if we could close, if we could open at all. We were worried about that coming down. So yeah, we shifted and pivoted, laid some people off.
Either business or personal, did you have any interesting experience or interactions during the COVID shutdown in March and April of 2020?
Well, I mean, other than the whole business shift, and that was quite interesting. The whole thing in itself was unique for sure because nobody had seen anything like it before. I think just yeah, I mean, it just trying to stay above water, just trying to keep your things going, your personal life. My moving business, my trucking, my actual career never slowed down during that period. So I was on one hand, I had this business that was slowing down or stopping, and that business was actually ramping up because people were committed to do moving and that kind of stuff. So I had both sides of it. Never really quit for me.
Did you take up any new hobbies during the lockdown?
No, I didn't have time. Yes? Sorry.
By mid-May, businesses were allowed to reopen. How did this affect you or your business?
Yeah, mid-May, the city finally let us open at small capacity. I believe it was 25% back then. We separated our tables and all of our stools for social distancing. We put up plexiglass barriers on the bar. We were only allowed to have, I think, 25 or 30 people at the time, depending on what our occupancy was. We tried to maintain the to-go thing, which I think is even to this day has been a good part of our business. And our walkout beer crawlers is actually still thriving.
Personal fan of Norris walking out of here with me.
Right?
On May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was killed in police custody in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This sparked nationwide protests, including many here in Kenosha. Did you participate or have any interaction with any of these early protests or protesters?
I did not participate. We were still just trying to do our day-to-day.
Most, if not all, the events this summer were canceled. How did you keep business going during the summer of 2020, pre-Jacob Lincoln's?
Again, just providing good product. I think we were unique to other places as we, our specific beer was able to carry out. It was a tough cycle of the summer.
On Wednesday, August 12, 2020, a fire broke out in the Klaus Brothers building on 63rd and 22nd Avenue. Did you have any experience or interaction with this event?
I did not.
On Saturday, August 23rd, around 5 p.m., Jacob Blake was shot by Kenosha police officers. When did you first hear about the incident?
I was actually in the brewery that day, and we had heard some rumbling of some event happening in the city. I think it was about 6 o'clock. There were people marching down the street right in front of us. Our door was wide open because it was August, I'm sorry. I didn't really know what was going to happen until we saw the protesters marching by. So at that point, we were on alert. We checked into what was going on.
And so initial reactions?
Once I heard what had happened, I was mostly worried about our staff and what our patrons' safety. I mean, first of all, because it was a pretty growing crowd outside. So we were starting to take actions to close early.
Did you think that things would get this bad in Kenosha?
On that weekend, or that I did not. No, I don't think I anticipated that.
Throughout the night of Sunday, August 23rd, and into the next morning, many downtown businesses were damaged by rioters, including the fire at the Car Source lot and Manja's restaurant. How did you first find out what was going on concerning those?
So I was here initially on that Sunday, so I knew what was happening pretty quickly. We ended up locking up Sunday night, and I was able to watch from home. I locked up, got all my staff out of here, everybody home safely, and I watched the cameras in the front. We have a little bit of pan in the front area. Watching people protest, walking by. It ramped up pretty good Sunday night. I actually watched a guy try to throw a chair through our window. We got a broken window out of the Sunday night action. Actually watched him take 2 or 3 swings at the window, and just wondering what, a little worried about what we were going to see happening. was a little unnerving.
As far as your feelings, how did you feel? Like anger, sadness, or range of emotions?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, the shooting was tragic. I mean, I don't know that had to happen. I don't want to, either way, I don't know enough about it to make a solid statement on it, but anytime somebody gets, shot, it's a tragic thing.
How late did you stay up that night, and what were you doing?
Most of the night watching the cameras, and just kind of, there was a couple of guys that were doing live Facebook feeds, so we ended up watching that, and we were listening to Kenosha Scanner for most of the night, Sunday night.
During the first night, how did your business react to the violence in the city?
We closed early, so we bugged out before it got dark.
On Monday, August 24th, many people came to the downtown area to help clean up. Did you have any experiences with this?
Oh yeah, we came down early Monday morning, and it was kind of a, you're not knowing what to expect when you turn the corner in 6th Avenue here, but it was kind of a neat vision of the community was all out in force. I mean, everybody was out here helping each other board up, because all of us were boarding our windows up. Some from damage, some from anticipation of the next night. And the community came out, people were walking around handing out water. I mean, just helping each other. People were driving around with plywood, offering that for free off the trailers. And it was a unique community get together, just kind of everybody working towards the same goal.
Just as a side note, that I had been to Rustic Road at the old location. That day, though, I was down here helping with the water and putting up
Were you?
boards and painting
Okay.
signs. And Andy came by.
Okay.
And he goes, dude, come on over for a beer when you're done. And that was the first time I was in this
Really?
building.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's another silver
Yeah, there you
lining
go.
of the lifetime club member.
Did your business take any preventive measures in case the violence continued?
Yeah, I mean, we boarded up everything, and I don't think we opened until the 3rd or 4th day, so we remained closed. We just sealed everything up and went back home.
What were your plans for the upcoming Monday evening, so that night, it's going to get dark?
Yeah, we were kind of, there were still protests going on during the day while we were all working down here, and they were mostly peaceful. Until the night. It seemed to be the nighttime brought out the whole different reaction, And so we, everybody left. It was like come down during the daytime and go back home by 5 or 6 o'clock and vacate the area.
On the evening of Monday, August 24th, and into Tuesday, the violence spread west, including fires at B&L Office Furniture, Kenosha Probation Office, Danish Brotherhood, Rory's Corner Shop, and more. What were you doing on that Monday night?
So Monday night I was out at we lived out by the highway by Aurora, and we had been watching the Facebook posts and stuff like that, and even the residences were starting to get a little nervous around certain areas because they were threatening to come into the neighborhoods. So we were, realistically Monday night, we had a neighborhood watch already formed, and basically guys are just watching out for our houses out there,
Through the day on Tuesday, firefighters were still putting out fires, and the city was in rough shape. How was the condition of your business?
I came down Tuesday morning, headed back downtown, and I actually saw most of the fires. The Danish Brotherhood I used to be a member of, which was sad to see that building burn. It was still burning Tuesday morning when I came down. It was really hard to get down here because there's so many fire, emergency response vehicles. But once we assessed, we were boarded up at that time, so we were pretty confident we were okay. I know something different burnt. Was it either Monday night? Most likely. I think, we were helping them clean up Tuesday.
So what did you get done on Tuesday?
Just come down here and assess and kind of put things away in the building and make sure that we had beer brewing still, so we had to make sure we monitor that. Nothing got shut down or anything like that. Our power was still on.
Sorry if some of these are redundant. But,
Okay.
what was the cleanup effort like around your business?
Most of that happened on Monday. I mean, yeah, we're a very small frontal area, so we had that pretty well squared away Monday night.
Broken glass.
Yeah, and it was just a daily sweep job on the sidewalk and helping neighbors, wherever we could.
Did you contact any elected officials this week?
During that week, my wife worked for the city at the time, so I had a pretty good grip on what they were doing with this. I had a few friends in the police department, so I was reaching out to them and see how things were going, and other than that, officially, maybe an alderman or two. I might have talked to a couple aldermen during that.
Did you have any contact or experiences with the National Guard when they arrived in the city?
That would have been Wednesday, right? They came, I think. We did provide food for the response team that was out. I think they were at Bradford or wherever, which included National Guard. So I think we brought 300 brats out there because we had food that needed to be cooked. So instead of spoiling it, we were feeding people. Actually, we were handing out to everybody, volunteers. And we did make a trip out to them.
Did you have any contact with any other organizations or protesters that week?
I had a couple of people ask for an interview. I might have gave one or two, just asking how I had one unique encounter with a person that was driving by, a carload of guys. This was right on Monday when we were boarding up. The comment was, it's just broken glass, it's not a life, is what he said to me. And I was like out there sweating, putting my board up, and it's a good point, but
Still.
I'm not sure, yeah. Didn't make me feel any better either way, but.
Did you have any contact or experiences with any mainstream media and news outlets that week?
Not mainstream, no.
And did you contact or have any experiences with any independent journalists or live streamers this week?
I gave an interview, I think it was a Swedish company, a Swedish reporter. I just, my shock, I just relayed my shock and basically telling them what happened to our business. It was pretty, yeah, so.
On the night of Tuesday, August 25th, the protest continued and Cal Rittenhouse was involved in a shooting which left 2 men dead. When did you first hear about the Rittenhouse incident?
So Tuesday night, we were pretty well tied up with protecting our neighborhood because the threats out there had become a little bit more substantial on Facebook and other media outlets. So I wasn't aware of what happened down here. This was all locked up down here, so I was home protecting our neighborhood.
What was your initial feelings when you saw or heard about it?
Yeah, that's. I was surprised that it could happen in our city. First of all, that's. I was thankful to, not thankful at all for it. I mean, the whole thing was tragic, but he could have just sprayed the crowd. That was my first reaction. Was those guys carrying those weapons were just going to pour out on the crowd, and yeah, I was a little worried about that.
Were you concerned that unrest would escalate further, or did you think that this would quiet down?
This would be Tuesday night we're
This
talking
is after
about.
Rittenhouse.
After Rittenhouse. So I think I was really watching the governor's reaction and the mayor. I was waiting for the National Guard, which I don't think they showed up till Wednesday. I was hoping they would have been here earlier. I think that could have helped a lot. I know the marshals were in town on Wednesday, and that helped a lot. They thwarted a couple of efforts that were being planned. So once that got here, it seemed like Wednesday night toned down a little bit. It was still pretty hot area as far as protests and stuff. again, during the day it was very peaceful. I mean, for the most part. The nighttime is when it would get violent, you know.
Yeah. So Kenosha was in the news a lot that week. How did you feel about the national media coverage of the events?
It's not exactly the coverage we want, you know. And I think that's what I explained to that foreign journalist, that, you know, this is a quiet town. We don't, you know, this is a loving community. We don't, this is unusual for us to see that stuff. So.
How do you feel the national and international media outlets portrayed Kenosha?
I really didn't see anything overseas, so I can't speak to that.
Both President Trump and Joe Biden visited Kenosha to survey the aftermath. Did their visit affect your life in any specific way?
Well, I mean, when Trump showed up, it must have been safe because he wouldn't come to an area that wasn't under control. So in that regard, it was, you know, the town started to be more quiet and safer. I think Biden came a couple days later, and he did an interview or a meet and greet at the church on 60th. So it was pretty, you know, low key by then.
Did you go see either of them?
I did not. No, I had I had a couple of things to worry about.
Yeah. When President Trump visited the city, he promised $4 million, which would go to the city of Kenosha to assist in rebuilding. Did your business receive any of this money?
I don't know. Absolutely not. I'm not sure what happened to that money.
What is your opinions of the independent journalists and live streamers who were in Kenosha?
I liked a couple of the live guys on Facebook, and I think they did a pretty good job showing what was happening. It was nice, nice to know we had people out there like that.
What was your opinion of their coverage of the events as they unfolded?
I was happy to have it because once in a while the one guy would skateboard by Rustic Road and I could check my building, so without being here.
How did your business organization position change in the weeks after August 2020? If you can answer that, and then the next one is if your business was affected by the civil unrest, how did it recover?
Yeah, we had so we had, because of COVID, we had the outdoor extension, which is out in the street, and I think we reopened on Saturday or Sunday of that weekend once things were calm and the fires were out and everything. We had a local performer playing out in the street. I mean, just for everybody to enjoy. And, you know, even I think he played a little bit while we were all cleaning up during the week too. But it certainly was. When you were inside the bar, it was very dark. You know, you had to open the door to get some kind of light, so it was a little third world that way. But great outpouring from the community. I mean, we had good crowds coming out here about a week after the whole incident.
That's awesome. Looking back on everything that unfolded in 2020, how do you feel about it now?
Well, I think Kenosha's stronger as a community. I mean, I think we understand each other a little bit better now. You know, we're resilient. Everybody helps each other around it. Again, this is a peaceful community. I mean, and business has been pretty good since then.
I skipped this one, sorry. Were you witness to any examples of good citizenship by Kenosha citizens following the events of August 2020?
Oh yeah, I mean, like we talked earlier, it was, you know, people helping each other, handing out waters, just walking by if they could help or paint, or, you know, the artists were coming out too. You know, that was part of the incident. And I thought that was kind of neat. People expressing themselves. We let them paint the boards, and I mean, it was a great community. In the light of a tragedy, it was a great community togetherness, I guess it would be.
Yeah, and these questions kind of go a little together, but do you feel any different about the city of Kenosha now that you did before the events of 2020?
No, I'm still here to stay.
How do you see the future of Kenosha?
The future's bright. I mean, you know, especially this area. I hope the Uptown comes back, because that's a great area. They had a lot of great businesses up there. I would hope that some of that money that the President Trump had promised went to that area. I'm not sure how that worked, but hopefully those guys got some help. And I think between the two areas, this is a great place to visit.
And what do you love most about Kenosha?
That my wife was born and raised here. I do love the lake. I mean, the lake is a big draw for me. The downtown area is kind of a neat place to hang out, so that's why I invested down here.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to discuss about that 2020?
I think I got a chance to say everything I was thinking.
Do you own any photos or videos from 2020 that you'd be willing to submit to this
I
project?
do. I've got a couple good ones about the things I've been talking about, especially the performer, and then I got a pretty good ride coming in from uptown to here. So I'll let you have those.
How would you like the title description to be for this interview? Your title.
Is it my name or Rustic?
Well,
Brewing?
it said examples: business owner, activist, Kenosha resident, like this.
No, business owner. Yeah, just regular old guy making beer.
Like it. I'm going to keep this one rolling just because I had that mic in there.
Okay.
Shut this one off. I'm just going to ask you a couple of those first questions, if you don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just, how long have you owned Rustic Road?
It's 4 years, since 2018. I'm partners with the founder, so he owned it since its origin in 2012.
Okay, and how did your business adapt to the shutdown?
We immediately went to go food, and we were able to can our beer to go. We're specific to our beer, so we sold a lot of crawlers.
On March 17th, 2020, the city of Kenosha basically shut down. How did this affect you and your business?
It was abrupt. We were gearing up for the busiest bar day of the year, so we had to adapt. We ordered, we had an extra supply of food and beer and wine and all the stuff, so we had to figure out how to move forward.
By mid-May, businesses were allowed to reopen. How did this affect you or your business?
The city allowed us to open back up at 25%, so we welcomed that, and we practiced safe distancing. We had spaces marked out on the floor, and bar stools were separated. Tables, we thinned our tables out, put dividers up on the bar as far as plexiglass, and just masked up.
Okay, and then May 25th, 2020, George Floyd was killed. Did you participate or have any interaction with any of these early protests or protesters?
I did not.
And most, if not all, events that summer were canceled. How did you keep business going during the summer of 2020?
We just maintained our good product and tried to keep what we had going. We had outside performers occasionally, and whatever we could do.
And then when Jacob Blake was shot, when did you first hear about the incident?
Well, I was in the brewery that day, so I had heard something around, I think it was around 5:30, and actually looked into it closer when I saw the protesters march by the front door, which was open. So then we were aware of what was going on.
Okay, and what were your initial reactions?
We were just, concerned, first of all, and as the crowd was building outside on the downtown area, because they were headed toward the police department, et cetera. We just, we closed early, just to get my staff out and my patrons, their safety was our first concern.
And I'm sorry I'm asking these again, but did you think things would get that bad in Kenosha?
No, I never expected that. I mean, that was something unreal.
And then throughout the night on Sunday, August 23rd and into the next morning, many downtown businesses were damaged. Car Source, Lot, Manja's, How did you first find out what was going on there?
On Sunday night or Monday night?
Sunday.
Sunday night, yeah. Well, there was some live streamers that were on Facebook, and Kenosha County Scanner, we were listening to police radio and fire and all that. I was watching my camera so I could see the build up on 6th Avenue. And then, yeah, the fire, there was a certain guy that tried to keep the church from burning. He was one of the live streamers, so that was a pretty good documentation of what was happening at Car Source.
And how late did you stay up that night, and what were you doing?
I was up most of the night watching cameras and just paying attention to media and scanner, listening to all of the avenues we had available.
And during that first night, how did your business react to the violence?
We were closed, so we locked up and went home.
Okay, I'm just going to answer this one. I think that's it. Monday, August 24th, many people came downtown to help to clean up. Did you have any experiences with this?
Yeah, we did. We had to come down to board up the broken window, and when I came down, I was very appreciative of the community that was out helping everybody get cleaned up, and handing out free plywood and waters for whoever was working, some painting, whatever had to happen. Neighbors were helping neighbors. It was a neat community outreach.
Okay.
Good.